He was a pathetic gooner who couldn't talk to girls just like you. But the day after losing a bet to his friends, he confessed to the hottest girl in school, who somehow got Riz and wanted to get clapped by him and would do anything for him. First morning back, Ryuto is stuck staring at Runa instead of paying attention. She's the girl everyone talks about, the one people whisper about in hallways, the one half the school wishes they could date. In his head, she's way out of his league, like she lives on a different planet entirely. He tells himself that if he ever walked up to her, his nerves would short-circuit and he'd crash like a laggy game. Later in class, Runa is at a desk with her friends, filling out some school form and chatting like it's no big deal. Ryuto sits a few rows away, quietly hyped that he somehow landed in the same homeroom as her again. That good mood tanks fast when a couple of guys behind him start running their mouths. They trade cheap rumors about her love life, how she supposedly cycles through boyfriends like influencers, swap outfits, and one even suggests she has sugar daddy. Ryuto tunes it out. He's heard this kind of talk since year 1, and he decided a long time ago not to let hallway gossip rewrite who he thinks she is. While he's busy pretending to study and secretly overthinking everything, he also has that usual hit of self-awareness. It's senior year and he still feels like a background character. He's got 2 buddies, Yusuke and Ren, who are fun but just as offbeat as he is, and none of them are exactly popular. He's spiraling on that thought when Runa steps over to his desk and asks if she can borrow a pencil. That snaps him back to earth. He fumbles in his case, hands one over, and she doesn't rush off right away. For a second, he actually looks at her, how relaxed she seems, how she talks to people without putting anyone down, how she treats classmates like equals instead of props. His face heats up. He's pink enough to match the eraser. Runa finishes her form, returns the pencil with a quick thanks, and glides back to her seat. And just like that, the moment ends. At lunch, Ryuto heads up to the roof to sit with Yusuke and Ren, who are deep in gamer talk. Yusuke complains that he streamed till sunrise, and now his eyeballs feel sandpapered. Ren admits he played all morning and barely made it to school on time. Both of them are convinced their grades are about to fall through the floor. Ryuto tries to relate, saying he's not feeling great about exams either, but they wave him off immediately. They know how he is on tests. He can dump textbook facts like a printer. Because of that, they cook up a challenge. The one who scores highest gets to boss the other 2 into doing anything. Ryuto calls it dumb and asks why they should gamble on grades, but after some relentless nudging, he gives in. A few days later, results drop. Surprise to no one, Ryuto tops their trio. Yusuke and Ren act shocked for all of 3 seconds before reminding him of the bet. Their prize for him is brutal. He has to confess to the girl he likes. They know he can ace a worksheet, but conversation? Not his strong suit. They're half teasing, half serious, and they push until he agrees, even though his stomach is turning. That afternoon, Ryuto waits at the spot they picked, heart thudding, while Ren and Yusuke crouch in some hedges nearby like extras in a drama. He thinks about how flat his school life has been, most days just him thinking about Runa and not doing anything about it. He figures a clean yes or no would be better than staying stuck. He actually gave her a note earlier asking to meet, but now he's worried she'll never show. Then she walks up with the note in her hand, and his face goes bright red. Runa smiles and lightly jokes that he didn't have to be so formal. They're classmates, he could have just talked to her. Hearing that, he decides to stop dodging. He gathers what confidence he has and tells her straight that he likes her, that he thinks she's cute. She turns pink, too. Inside, he's panicking so hard he almost hopes she shuts him down, just so he can move on. Instead, she does the opposite. She says okay. She'll go out with him. He stares, wondering if this is some prank, but she's serious. He nods, shaky but happy, and she suggests they walk home together. Out in the bushes, Yusuke and Ren freeze like the world just glitched. They did not see that coming. On the way back, Ryuto keeps glancing at her, trying to make sense of the fact that he's walking next to the girl he thought was unreachable. He finally blurts out the question bouncing around in his head. Why did she say yes? Runa answers like it's simple, she wants to actually get to know him. He's surprised by how direct that is and wonders if maybe that straightforwardness is part of why she's dated more than one person before. She cuts in, a bit annoyed, to clarify that she doesn't just say yes to anybody. She has standards, and nobody has ever confessed to her the way he did, honest, without acting cool or fake. She adds that if they're together, she plans to be loyal. On the train, Ryuto overthinks again, picking at those rumors and trying to figure out what's real and what's noise. They reach her stop, and she asks if he'll walk her the rest of the way. He agrees, At her place, she invites him inside and mentions her parents aren't home. He's nervous, but he steps in. She goes to grab drinks, and his curiosity gets the better of him. He looks around her room, taking in little details, then his eyes drift to the wardrobe. He slides it open, a bit terrible timing, just as she comes back. Instead of making a scene, she reaches in, pulls out a top, and asks if it looks good. She sits on the edge of the bed with a soda and pats the spot next to her for him to sit. Keeping it casual, she suggests he could freshen up since it's been a long day and it's warm out. She fiddles with her top like she might change outfits. He panics and blurts out that things are moving too fast. He says they literally just started talking, and she doesn't even say his name right yet. She nods, then points out that he is her boyfriend now, so she wants to know if he actually likes being close or if he's just pretending. He tells her he does like her a lot, but he wants to value what they have first. He doesn't want her feeling cornered into doing anything just to keep him around. Thinking that through, Ryuto realizes something about those past breakups she hinted at. Maybe people before him got frustrated because she wouldn't rush into anything heavy. He decides he's not going to be that guy. He says he'll always put how she feels first. Runa studies him like she's seeing a brand new type of person and admits she didn't know guys like him existed. To make sure she knows where he stands, he adds that she's his first girlfriend and he's inexperienced. If they ever choose to get closer, he wants it to be because she genuinely wants it, not because she's worried he'll bail. That takes the pressure out of the room. Runa relaxes and says they can slow down and just enjoy hanging out. They talk a little more, sip their drinks, and the vibe shifts from tense to comfortable. When he heads out, he's having second thoughts now. A few days later, Ryuto is back on his morning route to school, still stunned that someone like him is actually dating someone like Runa. While he's walking, his phone buzzes. Runa texts that she overslept and might roll in late. He's not used to getting messages from a girlfriend, so his brain trips over itself, but he types a calm reply anyway and pockets the phone. He reaches campus before the bell. Runa slips into the room soon after, slides into her seat, and starts chatting with her friends like normal. Across the room, Ryuto keeps sneaking glances, and when she catches him looking, he turns red and whips his eyes back to his notebook. Later, he tells his two gamer buddies that he's actually going out with Runa. Both of them stare like he just said aliens landed. One of them jokes, asking if they've already rushed things. Ryuto shakes his head fast and says nothing like that has happened. They keep teasing, telling him to be prepared, which only makes him want to sink under the desk. He insists they're getting ahead of themselves. He and Runa only started seeing each other, and they can chill with the wild talk. Even so, his friends doubt he can keep up with someone as well-known and experienced as Runa. They say she changes boyfriends so often it's hard to count, while he barely talks to anyone outside their trio. Hearing that, Ryuto has to admit they're not completely wrong, and a small knot of worry forms in his stomach. During class, Runa walks over to speak with him. The room quiets a little, people notice. Her friend Ikoru shoots him a sharp look, and Ryuto's nerves spike. He mutters that he has homework to finish and slips away, trying to dodge all the staring. As the day goes on, Runa still chooses to spend time near him at breaks, between periods, something he enjoys but also finds heavy, because every move feels watched, especially by the very serious Ikoru. After school, he asks Runa to meet in private. He carefully asks whether she told her friends about them. She says yes. He claims he hasn't told anyone yet, even though he did tell Yusuke and Ren earlier, and then asks if they can keep things quiet at school for now. Runa, being easygoing, says that's fine, but wonders how they'll talk if they have to act like they're not a couple on campus. He suggests messaging and meeting outside school, maybe weekends. She lights up at that, takes it as an invite, and says Saturday works because Sunday's packed. He didn't mean to set up a date, but seeing how happy she is, he agrees immediately. Back home, he spirals about the upcoming weekend. He's barely hung out with girls outside of group projects, so a one-on-one date makes his stomach flip. In the middle of that panic, Runa video calls him. He fumbles the answer button, and her face fills the screen. She asks about the plan, and he blurts out movie, then admits he hasn't watched many and has no idea what to pick. She asks why he even asked her out if he's this unsure. He says it plain. He wants to learn more about her and get closer. That makes her blush, and she says he's different in a good way. His chest warms, and his confidence finally stops wobbling. Saturday arrives. They meet up and head out to shop first. Runa is excited, trying on a bunch of casual outfits, asking for quick opinions, then switching to the next. Ryuto watches, quietly impressed, and also feels like he doesn't quite match her style. Even so, He carries the bags without being asked and keeps pace beside her. They drop into a cafe afterward. While they wait for drinks, Runa asks if he was bored during all that browsing. He admits, like a true gentleman, that seeing her enjoyed herself made the time good for him too. That honest answer makes her cheeks warm again. Just then, her phone rings Nikoru. Runa takes the call, and the tone is serious. From the bits he hears, Ryuto worries Nikoru might be telling her to end things. The next morning, he messages Runa. No answer. That's unusual. She normally replies fast. Hours tick by, still nothing. His head fills with bad scenarios, and to drown the noise he boots up a game and plays until his eyes ache. Back at school, he spots Runa talking to a couple of boys in the hallway. His mood tanks. Later, a message pings from her asking to meet at the park to talk about something important. He steels himself for a breakup speech and heads over, trying to keep his face steady. At the park, she shows up bright-eyed and holds out her phone new case, flashy and limited. Then she gives him a matching one. She explains she was out with Nikoru hunting for those exact cases. Both their phones died in the process, and that's why she went quiet. Relief hits him so hard his eyes sting. He thanks her, voice a little shaky. They walk home together, and she adds that she picked them out because it's their one-week anniversary. She wanted them to have something that matches. That tells him exactly how seriously she's treating this. On the way, he opens up about his past. Once, he confessed to a classmate who turned him down, telling him straight that she only saw him as a friend. Runa laughs softly and says, in a teasing way, that it worked out for the best otherwise, the two of them wouldn't be together now. She also shares that her parents met in school and got married, but eventually split up. As they continue, a loud, expensive car roars past. Ryuto, who usually keeps quiet, launches into a mini info dump about engines and models, and why that one is special. Runa grins. It's the first time she's seen him talk freely about something he loves, and she tells him it's kind of cool. She admits she's eager to grow up faster, but past relationships left her unsure what love should feel like. She says that even with all that, she still feels a bit like a kid inside and doesn't always take things seriously. Ryuto tells her she doesn't have to force anything, he likes her exactly how she is. Lively, bright, and real. She takes that in, smiles, and nudges him to head home. He follows, promising himself to learn more about the person she is, even if he sometimes feels like he's not on her level. That night, Runa calls Nikoru to say thanks for helping find the phone cases. Nikoru, still cautious, warns her to be careful around Ryuto. She doesn't trust him yet. The next day, Ryuto strolls into class proudly showing off the matching case like it's a trophy, grinning every time it catches the light. Then the homeroom teacher brings in a transfer student, Maria. She's the same girl who shot down his confession years ago. Maria introduces herself with perfect poise, and half the guys in class start simping. The room hums with excitement, and Ryuto feels that old memory reopen the blunt, let's just be friends, but he steadies himself. That was then. Now he's with Runa. Maria clocks Ryuto from across the room and actually does a double take. The teacher makes it extra awkward by placing her at the empty desk right beside him, and his face drains like he's seen a ghost. When the period ends, she steps over and asks if he's the same kid who confessed to her back then. He wants to evaporate on the spot but says yes. In his head, he swears to keep space between them and focus on his actual girlfriend, Runa. He slips out of class fast and walks straight into Nikoru in the hallway. She's leaning against the wall, working through a paper cup of fries. Before he can even say hi, she boxes him in with a look that says, "Don't run." He squeaks out a "Did I mess up?" She holds up a finger and says to wait because fries go soggy if you talk instead of eat. She polishes them off, wipes her hands, and then drops the news. Runa's birthday is this coming Sunday. That blindsides him, he didn't know. Nikoru's eyebrows shoot up. If he doesn't even know her birthday, is he seriously taking this relationship seriously? Ryuto scrambles, says he cares a lot, and she tells him to make the day special. As she starts to walk away, he blurts out a question about presents. She fires back with a "Why not ask Runa?" sarcasm, but when he explains he wants to surprise her like she surprised him with that matching phone case. Nikoru's tone softens. She gives him a few ideas and sends him off. Neither of them notices the student across the hall snapping a sneaky photo, angling it to look like they're secretly meeting behind Runa's back. After school, at the station, Runa shows up not smiling. She holds out her phone, someone dumped that picture in a group chat, and the comments are messy. She looks him in the eye and asks if he met Nikoru and what exactly they were doing. Ryuto stammers but lays out the truth. Yes, he talked to Nikoru, only to plan Runa's birthday. He even asks if she wants to celebrate together. Her whole expression flips from stormy to sunny. She says yes immediately, and then heads home with lighter steps. Watching her go, he wonders if that was jealousy, but he shakes it off and decides to make the birthday perfect. A few days spin by, and it's finally her day. They meet up for a date in Harajuku, Nikoru's idea, and just like Nikoru predicted, Runa lights up at the color and noise and shops. They duck into a cafe for bubble tea, which is basically her happy place. Ryuto offers to pay when she reaches for her wallet, and then he pulls out his secret weapon, a hand-drawn map he's been building all week, filled with notes on different boba spots around the neighborhood. He accidentally goes full nerd and starts explaining the tiny differences between milk teas at each place, textures, toppings, ice levels, the whole deal. Halfway through, he realizes he's been monologuing and clams up, mortified. Runa giggles and asks if he loves boba that much. He admits he researched all of it because she loves it, and he wanted her birthday to be fun from start to finish. That hits her right in the feelings. She thanks him and says nobody's ever done something this thoughtful for her. They spend the afternoon hopping from shop to shop, trying new flavors and comparing notes. At the last cafe, he offers her the final cup, saying he's too full to drink more. She insists he at least taste it, and they end up sipping from the same straw. She teases that it's basically an indirect kiss, and he turns the color of strawberry syrup. As the date winds down, he goes to hand her a present and realizes his cash doesn't cover what he wanted to buy. He apologizes, admitting he picked something out but couldn't afford it yet. Runa takes the map from his hands and says this is the perfect gift, that time and effort mean more to her than anything, and that she's going to keep it safe. He promises they'll come back and try even more places together. She thanks him for making her birthday feel special, and they part on a high note. Next morning, the rumor mill is back at it. Ryuto hears classmates muttering the same old garbage about Runa, and during lunch he tells his friends it sounds like someone's spreading this on purpose. After the break, Maria's attitude toward him shifts hard. She offers him homemade cookies. He accepts, awkward but polite. She claims she forgot her textbook and slides her chair close to share his. When the teacher's gone, she apologizes for turning him down in the past, says she was confused back then, calls him sweet, and asks if he'd like to go out now. He shuts it down. He's not the same lonely guy anymore, and he already has a girlfriend. She asks who, and he says he's keeping that private. A bit later, he steps into the corridor and sees a boy guiding Runa into an empty classroom. His heart rate jumps. He follows and peeks through the door. Inside, the boy confesses to Runa. She says no right away. She's taken. The boy starts trashing her boyfriend, and Runa stands firm. She says her boyfriend is kind. She's with him because she respects how gentle and shy he is, and she would never be ashamed of him. Hearing that, Ryuto's chest goes warm and tight. His respect for her shoots even higher. Back in homeroom, he's still replaying her words when Maria pops up again. She starts discussing the whispers about Runa, and even tosses in a few nasty lines herself. That's it for him. He asks if she's the one stirring this up. She shrugs it off with a lame, "I don't remember," and hints Runa probably told people herself. She keeps dragging Runa until Ryuto can't sit still. He defends Runa out loud, says she's caring, decent, and nothing like the stories. Maria asks how he could possibly know that much. He stands up without thinking and blurts that he's Runa's boyfriend. The room goes silent. Heads turn. Nobody believes it until Runa, who has walked in on the tail end, calmly confirms it. The mood flips. Students start apologizing in their own way, and a bunch of them immediately start praising Runa, realizing the rumors were lies. Half the class decides they're going to try harder to be worthy of her attention now that they know the truth. The only person not smiling is Maria, who clenches her jaw and bolts from the room. Ryuto hurries after her, calling out that he just wants to talk. She tells him to quit following. He asks again about the rumors, and this time she admits it. She made them up because she didn't want Runa outshining her. Then she drops a reveal that freezes him. She and Runa are twins. He can't even form a sentence. Maria explains that she's always come in second and just wants to be seen and loved the way Runa is. She assumes he looks down on her now. He shakes his head. He tells her she's got him wrong. He's quiet, worries too much about what people think, and struggles to say what he feels, so he understands that lonely, competitive not she's describing. He tells her to aim for people who genuinely see her and to try being a version of herself she can like. She cringes at her own behavior and says he doesn't need to comfort her after everything. As she turns, her foot slips on the stair edge. Ryuto grabs her arm and steadies her before she tumbles. She flushes, mutters that this whole scene is way too cheesy, and marches off. Back in the room, Ryuto spots Runa and lights up inside. Nikoro swings by, tells him he did the right thing standing up for Runa, and says she's heading out to her part-time shift. After school, Ryuto and Runa walk together. She quietly asks why he announced they were dating when they'd agreed to keep it quiet. He explains he heard people throwing ugly rumors at her and couldn't sit there pretending nothing was happening. That honesty hits her hard, her eyes shine, and she thanks him. Runa admits she planned to tell him about Maria being her sister but froze up, and she guesses Maria is the one who started the gossip. Then she asks why he picked her when everyone talks about her past. He says the only thing that matters is who she is now, and that's the Runa he likes. Elsewhere, Maria sits on the stairwell, thinking about him, and wonders if she's actually catching feelings. She immediately decides that would be a terrible idea. That night, Ryuto's nerves spike because the whole class now knows he's with Runa. But the next day at school, nothing explodes. If anything, people treat him a little better. The relationship quietly boosts his reputation without him even noticing it happen. Later at a cafe, Runa thanks him for the birthday he planned and says she wants to return the favor by doing something he enjoys. She asks what he does for fun. He admits, a bit shy, that he spends weekends watching gaming commentary live streams. She asks what that means, and he launches into a big explanation before realizing he's ranting like a shut-in nerd. Flustered, he just pulls up a stream on his phone. She watches and actually likes it, which brings them closer. He thinks to himself that she's warming up to him even more. Over lunch, his friends tease him for still not having kissed her when he had chances. He says kissing feels like a boss-level challenge and asks what to do. They laugh because they're just as inexperienced. He decides to start smaller. Hold her hand first. The trio sketches out Operation Handhold. After school, he asks Runa out again. She's instantly into it. He tells his friends the plan: park date, rent a rowboat, and when she steps on and wobbles, he'll catch her hand. In class the next day, he zones out imagining the scene and gets blindsided by a teacher's question. Maria, seated beside him, whispers the answer so he doesn't get called out. Then she softly says, "Don't hate me." He tells her he won't, which makes her smile a little. Date day. At the park, he suggests boating. Before they get on the water, Runa shyly reveals she brought a homemade lunch. He tries it, loves it, and compliments her cooking until she beams. When they go to board, she does a tiny stumble, but she's steady and grabs the side herself, ruining his carefully plotted hand save. When they dock later, she hops out just fine, and he misses the moment again. They walk the paths while she chats happily about the day, and he tries not to sulk. He worries that forcing the handhold would make him like those pushy exes she mentioned, and he doesn't want that. She notices his weird mood and asks why he's acting off and if he's breaking up with her. He quickly says no, he was just lost in thought. When she asks what about, he chickens out and says he wants another boat ride because he loves boating. She laughs and agrees one more lap, his treat. Round 2. He steps in first and offers his hand as she climbs aboard. She takes it, and their fingers fit together. He practically does a victory dance on the inside. She says the boat idea was great because it gave them a chance to hold hands. He admits that's exactly what he wanted. She tells him she's been trying to get closer this whole time, he just didn't catch the signals. Then, out of nowhere, she rises, leans in, and kisses him. First kiss. Both of them go bright red. She tells him she really likes him, wants to grow closer, and dreams about simple things like walking and holding hands together more. He starts rambling nonsense because he's overwhelmed, but inside, he's floating. After they return the boat, they stroll like a couple in a movie, hands laced. She asks him to use her real name instead of her nickname. He tries, gets too embarrassed, and she laughs, saying he can take his time, she'll wait. She notices his hands are chilly and jokes that she'll warm them. Hand-holding and kissing might be awkward, she says, but they're also the best. Meanwhile, Maria sits at her desk at home and can't focus. Thoughts of Ryuto keep popping up. With a mischievous little grin, she tells the empty room that Runa should watch out. A few days later, Ryuto and Runa are at a cafe again, joking around and having fun. On the walk back, she asks if he knows what day it is. It's 1 month since they started dating. He's surprised and excited when she suggests they celebrate with a beach trip. His mind instantly jumps to her in a swimsuit, and he says yes faster than he's ever agreed to anything. She's thrilled. Back in class, test results drop. Runa's score is lower, but she's cheerful and thanks Ryuto for studying with her. He, on the other hand, nails a high score, which impresses her. From across the room, Maria watches them and simmers with jealousy. At lunch, Ryuto and his friends talk summer break plans. The vacation starts today, and they're hyped. Meanwhile, Maria waits outside the restroom for Ryuto. When he comes out, she asks if they can study together and says he's great at English. He explains he's already promised to tutor Runa. She pivots and suggests after summer, adding she's also bad at math. He offers to connect her with Yusuke, who's good at it, but she refuses. She wants Ryuto as her tutor, no one else. He feels pressured but still manages to turn her down. She's disappointed. Later at the station, Ryuto waits for Runa. Maria texts asking to study on the 23rd. He declines again. She asks when he's free. He doesn't answer. Runa arrives, and the two of them catch a train to the coast. At the beach, nerves kick in for him. Runa playfully blindfolds him while she changes, then reveals her bikini. He short-circuits for a second. She looks unreal and tries to keep his cool. She notices his flustered face, teases him, and tugs him along by the hand. After a while, she asks him to put sunscreen on her back. He freezes for a beat, then carefully does it, mind worrying. They spend the day playing volleyball, splashing around, and soaking it all in. After eating, she says the weather is perfect. He blushes and tells her the swimsuit suits her a lot. She thanks him and admits she tried more than 30 options at the mall with her friends to find this one. That night, heavy rain shuts down the trains. They tell their families they're crashing with friends and look for a place to stay. At the hotel, even though they could pay for 2 rooms, Runa insists they share one and refuses to split up. Inside, Ryuto turns timid again and suggests she take a bath to relax. While she's in there, he panics about the whole staying together situation and does sit-ups to burn off nervous energy. She comes out, spots him mid-workout, and jokes about touching his stomach because it looks like he trains. He denies it on instinct. She laughs and tells him to go take his turn in the bath. He can't settle even in the hot water. When he's done, they eat snacks and watch TV. He keeps looking at her, and she blushes, saying she's not wearing makeup. He says she looks great without it, actually younger and even prettier. She hides her face a bit, embarrassed but happy. They switch off the lights. He lies there, wide awake, thoughts racing. In the dark, she asks, still blushing, if he's going to sleep normally or if he wants to do more. He's startled but keeps it together and says she doesn't seem ready yet. She answers that she isn't pushing him. She just felt bad, like he might be struggling because of her limits. She tells him she never imagined having a boyfriend who actually respects boundaries, reminds him she was the one who kissed him on the boat, and says that now, a month in, she loves him more and wants to get closer, but only when both of them feel it's right. She can wait. He says he wants to wait too, until she's truly comfortable. She teases that he's always too good, and he says that's because he really likes her. They share their first hug, both buzzing with happiness. She suggests they celebrate their 2-month mark in the same sweet way. They drift off holding hands. Somewhere else, Maria stares at her phone and stresses about why he still hasn't replied to her messages. Morning comes, and Ryuto walks Runa to her door before heading off. He's running on fumes after a sleepless night and plans to crash, but bumps into Nikoro on the way. She asks how the date went. He says it was great. Her face turns serious. She tells him Runa's previous boyfriends were awful, talk behind her back, treated her badly, and that every one of those relationships crashed before it even reached the 2-month mark. Because of that pattern, Runa trusts him, but is scared he'll end up the same. Ryuto answers without hesitation that he's not going anywhere and wants to stay by Runa's side long-term. Nikoro finally looks relieved. On the walk home, his phone rings from Maria's number. He picks up and hears Runa. She says she's at Maria's place, and Maria urgently wants to meet him at school. He suggests tomorrow because he's wrecked, but she insists it has to be tonight. After dark, he arrives on campus and finds Runa waiting alone in a classroom. She says, flat as a statement, that she wants to sleep with him. He freezes, confused at how her feelings flip so fast. When she steps into the light, his gut tightens. It isn't Runa. It's Maria dressed like her. Cut to the real Runa, elsewhere on a call, not realizing any of this is happening. Back in the classroom, Maria, still posing as Runa, repeats that she wants to do it and wraps her arms around him. He almost reacts on instinct, then something feels off. A second later, he calls it out, voice loud. He knows it's Maria under the act. She drops the pretense and admits their voices are close, even if they don't look alike. He demands a reason. She says she wants to be with him and could pretend to be Runa if that's what it takes. She steps closer, begs him to be her first, promises she won't tell anyone. He refuses immediately. He won't betray his girlfriend. A security guard's footsteps echo down the hall. The door opens into a storage room, but by then the space is empty. Ryuto and Maria are already out the window. Later, they're sitting on a park bench. He asks if this was some stunt to hurt Runa. Maria shakes her head. She says she genuinely likes him. He looks stunned. She admits she can't be Runa and shouldn't try, but she still wants to stand next to him and be the person he values most. Through tears, she apologizes for letting her emotions run wild and for turning him down back in school. She asks him to forgive the way she hurt him then. Overwhelmed, she leans on his shoulder and asks to stay like that until she calms down. He sits there quietly while she cries. Next morning, he drags himself to class, still knotted up about last night. He decides the only right move is to tell Runa everything so there's zero confusion. Before he can, a rumor blasts through school that he cheated with Maria. Yusuke and Ren corner him with a photo from last night showing him and Maria together. He's stunned. Maria strolls into the room acting normal, which makes him even more uneasy. He pulls her into an empty classroom and asks if she spread it. She says no, she has pride and wouldn't sink that low. He buys it. They open the door and Runa is standing there. The sight of them together hits her like a punch. Her phone slips, cracks on the floor. Ryuto stammers that it isn't what it looks like, but Runa, crying, says she can't take it and bolts. He reaches for her phone. Nikoru snatches it first, calls him awful, slaps him hard, and walks off. Ryuto doesn't see Runa again that day. Even after the school ceremony, he can't find her. Days pass. Summer break starts. He sits in a cram class, staring at pages without absorbing a thing. He's been messaging her for 2 weeks straight with apologies and explanations. None of them show as read. He even stood outside her house once, too scared to ring the bell. Meanwhile, Yusuke and Ren head to the beach to kick off vacation. They're so used to living behind screens that beach day turns into them watching gaming videos on their phones, then wandering around. They pass a couples-only restaurant and spot someone who looks way too familiar. A few minutes later, a picture lands on Ryuto's phone. Runa sitting close to a guy inside that place. His stomach drops. He bolts out of class, catches a train, and charges to the restaurant like a music video lead chasing the final scene. Inside, Runa and Nikoru are snapping photos together. The guy from the picture comes over, sees Ryuto, and greets him like a customer. Runa and Nikoru both freeze at the sight of Ryuto. He blurts that he needs Runa to hear him out, he's late, but he has to explain. The guy realizes what's going on, apologizes for the confusion, and says he's Runa's uncle. Shock floods Ryuto's face. They sit down. Nikoru's still bristling. Runa's uncle plays it smooth. He brings juice, then leads Nikoru away so the couple can talk alone. Ryuto explains everything. Maria confessed. He turned her down. She cried and leaned on him. That's probably when the photo was taken. He apologizes for not telling Runa sooner. Runa says he doesn't need to apologize. She knows he's not like other people. She believes Maria's feelings were real and appreciates that he was kind when Maria broke down. He asks if she's angry and why she left him on read. She says her phone broke when she dropped it, and where her uncle lives there weren't repair shops. She only got it fixed yesterday. He asks again if she's upset about the pictures. She shakes her head and apologizes for doubting. She says she's happy to be dating him and never thought he'd betray her. She wants to keep going together. She takes his hand, and they sit there, eyes locked like those sappy couples in parks who forget the rest of the world exists. Later, he walks her back to her uncle's place. The uncle teases them and invites Ryuto to stay a few days. Runa gets excited and tells him they'll spend the entire break there, help out at the restaurant, then hit the beach whenever they're free. She says they should make this the best summer they've ever had. Ryuto agrees, cheeks warm, thinking about how ridiculously cute she is. Next morning, Ryuto is dead asleep when Runa climbs on top of him and wakes him. He opens his eyes, sees his girlfriend hovering above, and wonders if he's still dreaming. That afternoon, they start shifts at her Uncle Ma's restaurant. Ryuto has barely chopped vegetables at home before, so he fumbles at first, but Runa shows him the ropes and he adjusts. He gets better day by day. His mom even mails clothes and study materials, which surprises him. During a break, he's nose deep in a workbook while Runa is approached by two pushy guys who won't take a hint. She looks uncomfortable, unsure how to shake them. Ryuto argues with himself about stepping in, worried he'll make it worse, then decides to move. He walks over and asks if they plan to order. They're taller and broader and try to shoulder him aside, telling Runa to pick them or the part-time kid. Runa doesn't hesitate. She grabs Ryuto's arm and says she chooses him every single time. She even says it aloud. He's her boyfriend. Ryuto can't help the dopey smile. The two guys, embarrassed by the scene, retreat and slip out. Afterward, Runa thanks him for stepping up and is surprised he's studying at the beach. He says his parents shipped books, so he has to keep at it. She praises how smart he is and says he'll probably get into a great university. She talks about friends with plans. Nakuru works part-time to support herself and wants to go to nail school, and Akari is aiming for fashion school. Everyone seems to have a path. When he asks about her future, she admits she isn't sure what comes after graduation. Her big hope at school has been finding someone she could stay with forever. Her cheeks go pink as she hints she means him. She also dreams of fixing things with Maria and bringing their parents and sister back into one warm household like when they were little, even though that sounds hard right now. She says she wants to be a mom with lots of kids and a loving husband. She glances at him, apologizing for saying so much. He tells her it's okay. In his head, he realizes she's spent more time imagining the future than he has, and he starts picturing himself in it with her. Ryuto is in the bath thinking about what Runa told him the night before: future plans, growing up, doing better. Right there, he decides he's going to study harder, aim for a solid college, and become someone dependable for her. His little pep talk gets cut off by a sharp shout from the kitchen. He jumps out, runs over, and finds Runa near the counter looking crushed. The basket's empty, no potatoes, so for her surprise, potato and beef stew can't happen. She explains all of it in a flurry, half upset and half embarrassed. The fact that she wanted to cook just for him makes his face heat up. He asks if they should go buy what's missing. They head to the store together, pick up ingredients, and on the walk back she insists on carrying a light bag so she can still link hands with him on the other side. He turns rosy again and doesn't complain. Back at the place, the two of them rinse vegetables, slice, stir, and taste like a tiny kitchen team. Runa laughs that they're basically practicing married life. Ryuto thinks she's less into textbooks and more into playing house, but he doesn't mind. When it's ready, she lifts a spoon to his mouth. He tries the stew and practically melts. They end up looking at each other and smiling like total dorks who forgot the rest of the world exists. Across town, Maria's mom tells her to go visit Grandma. Maria's not into it until she hears Runa will be there and a boy named Ryuto. That name makes her freeze. She immediately claims she has urgent plans and says she can't go. Over at Grandma's, the elder tells Runa and Ryuto that Maria isn't coming this year. Runa wonders if her sister is dodging them. Ryuto remembers how stunned he was when Maria transferred into their class and nods along. Runa says watching the two of them together probably stings. She and Maria have been opposites since they were small, but she still wants to repair things. Is that even possible? Ryuto suggests they give Maria breathing room. Runa thinks for a second and then proposes a side door plan. Let Ryuto get friendly with Maria first, because a direct sister-to-sister push might just get shut down. He checks he heard that right become Maria's friend before the sisters try again. She says yes, exactly that. Soon after, Uncle Mao shows up with good news. Runa's phone is fixed at last. She lights up, races through replies to everything she missed, and jokes she's catching a new train after missing the old one. Ryuto watches her type like lightning and blushes at how lively she is. She yanks him into frame and records a silly clip together. On the final day of summer break, Mao hands Ryuto an envelope he'll pay for his hours at the restaurant. Ryuto tries to refuse. Mao says to take it, he earned it. It's the first money Ryuto has ever made himself. Mao grins, congratulates the pair on 2 months as a couple, and nudges Ryuto to pick out a present for her. That evening, Ryuto walks in and forgets how to breathe. Runa is waiting in a light yukata with her hair pinned up, looking soft and gorgeous in a way that makes him stand there like a statue. He remembers he's the boyfriend and actually says it. She looks amazing. He puts on a yukata too, and they head to the summer fair. They try the little games, scoop fish, eat street snacks, and browse tiny stalls, completely in date mode. Runa ducks into a jewelry booth to ask about a moonstone piece she wanted, but it's already gone. She shrugs it off and says she'll come back next year for it. On the way home, Ryuto admits a bunch of first times happened with her: first time wearing a yukata on a date, first time at a fair with a girl, first candied apple, first boba under lanterns. Runa says her mom married the first person she ever dated, and that she used to want to follow the same path. Then she catches herself and apologizes with glossy eyes. She wishes every one of her firsts could have been with him, but they weren't, and she hates that. Ryuto tells her he doesn't need to own her old memories, what matters is how she feels about him now. He takes out a tiny box and, trying to be casual, says, "Happy 2-month anniversary." She blinks, opens it, and there's the moonstone ring she was searching for. Tears roll, he slides it onto her finger. Fireworks crack open the sky right then, and the two of them just stare up. Under the rush of color, he says he loves her. She says she loves him too. A few days later, Runa's chatting with friends at school when she spots Maria and tries to walk over. Maria's expression shuts down and she turns away fast. Ryuto arrives in time to see the tension and quietly reminds Runa of their plan. Build friendly ground first, no heavy talk yet. At lunch on the roof, Yusuke and Ren brag about their great break, which basically means gaming marathons. Ryuto teases them for being classic shut-ins, then asks if they're free on Saturday. Jump to the airsoft arena. Ryuto and the guys blink when Runa, Nikoru, and Akari show up in sporty fits, taking selfies like they're on a magazine set. Ryuto leans in and suggests Runa zip her jacket a bit higher. Nikoru laughs at how awkward he sounds. Akari starts chatting with Ren, and he looks like his brain just blue-screened. Ryuto and Runa keep flirting. Yusuke and Ren pretend they aren't jealous. Nikoru jokes that if they aren't satisfied with the girls they've got right here, that's a crime. Everyone cracks up, and the mood loosens. First round starts. Ren gets tagged almost immediately. Yusuke charges at Ryuto and Runa to avenge him, but Akari peeks from cover and knocks Yusuke out. Ryuto, Runa, and Akari hole up behind obstacles, then Nikoru swings around the flank and surprises them. Ryuto steps forward to shield the girls and gets eliminated. Nikoru taps Akari next, which leaves a final duel. Runa versus Nikoru. Runa, fired up, says she's taking revenge for her teammate and edges out a win after a tight exchange. In the rest area, Runa thanks Ryuto for stepping in front. He says he'd do anything for her without thinking twice. Nikoru, trimming her nails like a boss, blames her misses on nail day, grabs a huge rental, and announces she's ready for round 2. Next game, she bulldozes the entire lobby by herself. After the matches, Runa suddenly panics one earring is missing. Ryuto drops to help search. A minute later, Runa finds it buried at the bottom of her bag. He notices she's only wearing one earring anyway, and just shakes his head, amused. The group cools off at a cafe. Akari says it was way more fun than she expected. Yusuke falls into a deep dive about airsoft internals barrels, hop-ups, pressure impressing Akari, and surprising both Runa and Nikoru. Ryuto thinks Yusuke's shy mode just vanished. Akari admits she's a vanilla voice otaku and happily explains what that means. The boys sit there wide-eyed. Nikoru says she's a nail art nerd and breaks down techniques like a pro. Runa goes quiet and says everyone seems to have a hobby they love, except her. Nikoru winks and says Runa's big obsession is Ryuto, which paints Runa's cheeks pink. Nikoru casually mentions her first boyfriend, her cool first love. Ren accidentally disses the guy, Nikoru scowls, and kicks him in the shin. Ryuto checks if Ren is okay, and Ren whispers he'd put up with anything for Nikoru. Akari says she likes tall guys. Yusu blurts that he's 181 cm, and Akari lights up. As the others peel off, Runa and Ryuto stay behind to squeeze in a small date. Up on the Ferris wheel, he debates going for a kiss even though they've kissed before. Runa breaks the quiet with a childhood memory. In one of her mom's shoujo manga, the couple eats sweets and kisses at the top of the Ferris wheel, and she always wanted to copy that scene. He points out you're not supposed to eat up there. She laughs and says she didn't bring chocolate anyway, but kissing is still allowed. They lean in. After, she asks what it tasted like. He says peach, and she grins. She wore peach lipstick on purpose. She tells him again how much she loves him and asks for a head pat. He ruffles her hair gently, and she practically glows. On the walk back, Runa stops and says hitting 3 months makes her so happy she could cry. Ryuto suggests doing something she loves to celebrate. She answers that every minute with him already counts as that. She steps close and blurts that she wants every day, every hour, every second together, growing up side by side and staying happy. Then she gets shy and jogs ahead. He follows, thinking he wants the same forever, and he'll work to be worthy of it. Later, she invites him to hang out, but he has prep school. At cram class, he nearly faints when Maria and her friends walk into his room. He dives under a desk, tries to crawl out, and bangs his head on the frame with a yelp. Maria's group looks around, baffled, while he scrambles to the hallway. An old acquaintance spots him, drags him to a cafe, and asks why he was army crawling, then jokes, "Is Maria your ex?" Ryuto explains the entire complicated mess. The guy offers to text warnings if he ever sees Maria headed Ryuto's way and saves his number. Back at school, the homeroom teacher announces the cultural festival and begs for volunteers. The room falls silent until Maria raises her hand. Everyone stares. The teacher praises her, then Runa's hand goes up too, which surprises both Maria and Ryuto. He realizes she's executing their plan, build a bridge by working together on the same team. Akari signs up as well. Nikaru can't because of her job. Akari recommends Ryuto next. He chokes for a second, then volunteers for Runa's sake. They still need one more person, so he suggests Yusuke partly to pull his friend into the mix with Akari. A few hours later, they're all gathered around materials and checklists. Akari and Yusuke chat while cutting decorations. Ryuto ends up in the middle of Runa and Maria, when their committee has to pick a design for the festival handout. Everyone does the awkward nameface intro thing, tosses out topics, and they land on a single word to guide everything: future. To break the ice, Runa asks what Maria does for fun. Maria says she burns spare time on anime. Ryuto perks up and blurts if she watches Ken's channel. She nods, and the two of them instantly start geeking out about his gameplay uploads and dumb highlights. Runa doesn't follow any of that streamer talk, so she sits there feeling like she missed a memo. Later at school, Ryuto's still wound up about being stuck between the sisters when an acquaintance, Shugo, slides over and asks if the Runa-Maria situation is still eating him. Ryuto doesn't spill anything, but his eyes basically say, "Please save me." They end up at a diner. Ryuto unloads the whole mess, and Shugo, making small talk back, mentions he's a legit table tennis beast, won a gold once, and that a girl once called him cool enough that he even changed his haircut for a while. Ryuto asks point blank if he cheated on her. Shugo says absolutely not, that's not him. Back around the project room, Yusuke and Akari keep clicking more each day while Ryuto stays jammed between Runa's opinion and Maria's. Runa brings a mock-up for the pamphlet Cute, Bright, Very Festival. Maria looks it over and says it leans too hard toward girls. The event is for everyone. She lays down her own draft, cleaner and broader. Runa pushes back that adorable works fine for a school fair. They both turn to Ryuto to pick one. Inside, he thinks Maria's layout fits the brief better. But Runa's his girlfriend. He freezes. With no good answer, he asks the teacher for help. The teacher listens, nods at the clash, and suggests they table the decision until after the sports day. Ryuto finally exhales. That evening, getting off the train from cram school, he spots Maria stepping out of the same car. While they wait for the next connection, he jokes about the coincidence. She says she's coming from prep classes. He lies that he was just shopping. When he asks if she lives close, her face tightens and she starts to spill the real story. Her mom's divorce, moving into her grandfather's place, switching schools because this one is affordable. Then she wonders out loud why she even picked Runa's school when there were other choices. Ryuto, still sore from earlier drama, suggests she came to make Runa's life harder. Maria shakes her head. She says Runa already has steady things: her dad, a stylish grandma who cooks well, a home that feels warm, while Maria's been bouncing between last names and problems. She transferred because she wanted to see her sister happy with her own eyes. That floors Ryuto. Maria adds that Runa loves surprises, something a boyfriend should know. She admits she said nasty stuff to Runa, even claimed she didn't like her. But the truth is, she does love her sister and wants to be around her again if Runa can forgive her. Maria remembers her first day in class. She expected Runa to beam and call her little sister across the room. But Runa just looked stunned, and it stung. Maria says she's trying to peel off the mask and act like herself again. Ryuto, moved, realizes he misread a lot. Both sisters actually care, they just crash into each other wrong. Their train rolls in. On board, he offers to walk her home. She declines with a tiny smile. He's not her boyfriend. He trips, books go flying, and while she helps scoop them up, she spots a cram school workbook. She laughs that they go to the same place. He snatches it back, flustered. She runs off, calling over her shoulder that she already knew. He stands there, brain lagging, realizing he'll be bumping into Maria a lot from now on. Sports day arrives. Runa lines up for a sprint and bolts like lightning. Then another girl edges past her. Ryuto yells her name from the sideline, and big anime energy, she rallies and wins. The campus pops with events. Everyone's in a good mood. Runa and Ryuto flirt shamelessly, which makes Aikawa and Nishida side-eye them with envy. During a relay gimmick, Runa snags a slip from a box and shouts for Ryuto. He's confused until Nikoru shoves him onto the track. They run together and take first. He gushes about how great she was. She says it's their win, then shows him the paper. The person you like most. He blushes tomato red. Maria's mom is there too. Akari compliments Maria in her cheer outfit. Maria gets shy and thanks her. She's about to point out her mom in the crowd when she sees her mother cheering for Runa and smiling wide. Maria's chest drops, and she slips away. Later, Runa's mom beams about Runa's athletic streak, asks where Maria is, and mentions that Maria invited her to see the cheer routine. She even took a half day off for it. Runa and Ryuto start searching. They find Maria on the rooftop, legs pulled in, staring at nothing. Ryuto tells her that her mother's looking for her. She's surprised he even knows she's in cheer. She explains that her mom thinks the sisters are close because they're in the same class. Maria doesn't want to explain how messy things got, especially after her own behavior. Ryuto urges her to go down. She snaps that it's none of his business. He pushes back. If not boyfriend, girlfriend, they're at least friends. Maria blurts that she still likes him. She keeps catching feelings and begs him to stop being so kind because it hurts. Ryuto stands there stunned. From a distance, Runa hears enough to wilt. Maria adds she can love whoever she wants without asking permission. Her heart doesn't take orders. Ryuto is speechless, and Runa, having heard too much, quietly heads downstairs, back to pamphlets. The stalemate's still there, so two teachers weigh in. The male teacher prefers Runa's cute palette. The female teacher says it's too girly and calls Maria's version more welcoming for boys. They toss the final call right back to, of course, Ryuto. Inside, he still favors Maria's approach. Under the spotlight, he says out loud that Runa's brighter look fits future better. Runa narrows her eyes and calls him out. She can tell he doesn't mean it, and dishonesty is what she hates most. He panics, then bails on both and pitches a totally different idea. A stripped, monochrome design instead. After the meeting, he keeps apologizing as they walk. Runa says she doesn't need 100 sorries. What hurts is that he pretended to be on her side when his choice was clearly Maria. Jealousy slips out. She says he and Maria seem like a better match anyway. They're both brainy, share tastes, and landed on the same design. She confesses that, at first, his differences were charming, but as she fell harder, those differences started feeling like distance. She wonders out loud if he'd be happier with Maria and mentions that rooftop moment at sports day. She knows he isn't the type to chase Maria, but she also sees he can't completely ignore her. She says she doesn't understand her own feelings right now, and if nothing changes, she's not sure they can continue. Ryuto is floored. Runa runs. He jogs after her, then stops. He can't trap someone into staying. He groans out of all days. This mess had to hit on their 4-month anniversary. Somewhere else, Maria thinks about Ryuto and a memory from when they were little. Runa fixed a broken doll, and Maria snatched it back, claiming she'd bought it, even though she didn't care about it before. Runa looked hurt but still handed it over. Present-day Maria admits Runa has always been a kind person. She wants her sister happy with Ryuto, but her own feelings won't switch off. Back at school, Ryuto sees Runa talking to someone and overhears that she's planning to meet an older guy. While cleaning the classroom with Nikoru, he wonders if she knows what's going on or who the man is. Nikoru catches him staring and says she thought he'd make Runa happy, but lately he's just hurting her. The words land heavy. After classes, Akari calls and asks to meet. At a cafe, she nervously says Runa might be getting close to another man because she hates being alone. She saw Runa shopping for merch with a slightly older guy carrying a fancy brand bag. Ryuto shows her a photo of Runa's uncle. Akari says, nope, this guy was younger. Maybe a college student. Ryuto asks if Akari thinks Runa would do a sugar daddy thing. Akari says she doesn't buy that Runa's a good kid, but if someone pushed, Runa might not say no. She adds she's heard from Nikoru that Ryuto and Runa are rocky right now. He thanks Akari for worrying and says he trusts Runa. If there's a problem, that's on him to fix. Outside, he calls Shugo and says he needs backup. Next day, the Culture Fest is buzzing. Ryuto shows up with Shugo, and a little fan club of girls does a double take at Shugo's vibe. Ryuto jokes that Shugo's stealing their spotlight. Shugo focuses. Do you want me to track down this supposed sugar daddy? Ryuto says don't call him that. It's not confirmed. Shugo says the obvious, ask Runa. Ryuto admits he can't, which is why he asked for help. Just then, Akari rushes up, points at Shugo, and says that's the guy she saw with Runa. Ryuto's stomach drops. He immediately jumps to the worst possible conclusion: Shugo must be an ex. They sit. Ryuto, tight-jawed, says he didn't expect to meet Runa's old boyfriend today. Shugo shakes his head. Runa isn't his ex. He's the ex of Nikoro, the girl in Ryuto's class. Ryuto blinks and realizes Shugo is the 2 weeks boyfriend Nikoro dated. Shugo explains the Runa sighting. He bumped into her by chance at cram school. She came up because she's friends with Nikoro and wanted to chat. He was busy, so he handed over his number and said he'd call later. She was cute, so he didn't say no. Ryuto presses anyway. Shugo says Runa was trying to set up a surprise for Nikoro, but his own story with Nikoro is done. Ryuto pushes back that Nikoro still has feelings. Shugo refuses to reopen that door. He admits he messed around and hurt her. And crawling back now would just look pathetic. Two loudmouths cut across the path where Runa and Nikoro are chatting and start giving them grief, blocking the way, tossing rude lines, not taking the hint. Nikoro snaps at them to knock it off. They keep pushing. Ryuto spots the scene, grabs Runa by the wrist, and guides her out of the mess, but that leaves Nikoro face to face with the jerks, who actually demand a kiss like clowns. A voice cuts in. She's with me. Shugo steps between them, tells Nikoro he's sorry he's late, and walks her away. The relief hits fast. She clings to him with wet eyes. Watching that, Yusuke gets a burst of courage and turns to Akari to confess on the spot. Ryuto and Nishida stare like, wait, what? Yusuke stumbles through his feelings. Akari turns him down firm, but not cruel, and he crumples. Later, Runa explains quietly that Akari hasn't dated in a long time. That random confessions feel like pressure, and she takes relationships seriously. So a sudden, please go out with me, just doesn't land. Afterward, the guys end up in a sad triangle on a bench. Yusuke and Ren, whining about how romance hit them like a boss fight they weren't leveled for. And Ryuto getting roasted as the lucky shut-in, who somehow confessed to Runa and won. That last bit lights a fire under him. He pops up and says he's going to find her right now. His friends cheer like he's sprinting into overtime. But he checks classrooms and hallways and comes up empty until he slides open a door and spots Runa out on the balcony. He steps outside. Runa says Shugo goes to the same cram school, and she recognized him from an old photo Nikoro showed her, so she walked up to say hi. Ryuto admits, cheeks hot, that for a second his brain went to the worst possible place, compensated dating, then says Akari cleared that up. The fancy bag was a gift from Runa's grandma. Runa smiles, happy Shugo and Nikoro found their way back to each other, and says it only happened because Ryuto wouldn't give up. She shares something Nikoro told her, being near the person you love is already enough. Ryuto nods and adds his own take. Life stretches on for a long time, and he wants all of it with her. They untangle the last of their confusion, he apologizes, and she tells him it's okay. She's just glad they talked. They drift to safer topics, cram classes, starting soon, whether Nikoro is okay. Ryuto, blushing, admits Nikoro probably just took the first step with Shugo. Runa says Nikoro's liked him for 3 years and won't hold back now. He groans that he does not need this much detail about other people's love lives. Runa asks about Yusuke. Ryuto says the rejection hit hard. Yusuke dove into games and skipped school, and Ren's mood isn't great either. Runa says she wishes everyone could play together again. On the walk back, he suggests another airsoft day. She reminds him exams are coming but thanks him anyway. They split Runa home, Ryuto to prep. Next morning, Runa and Akari are talking when Nikoro shows up with dark smudges under her eyes. Runa asks what happened. Nikoro chokes out that Shugo turned her down. He's shutting everything off to focus on entrance tests and won't pick up her calls or answer messages. Runa stands there stunned as Nikoro breaks into full sobs. At cram school, Ryuto corners Shugo and asks about Nikoro. Shugo veers into a weird monologue. If they stay together, things could head toward physical stuff. Ryuto waves his hands and says he does not need those specifics, but Shugo says he doesn't want that right now. Not with exams. He says he trusts Nikoro's friends to back her up. Ryuto admits he messed up with Runa again and feels awful. Across town, Runa tells Nikoro that Ryuto's been acting off and she can't read him. She's scared the relationship might break if it keeps going like this. Back at the cafe, Ryuto tells Shugo similar worries and that talking with Maria hasn't helped the tension. Shugo's advice is old school. On his way home, Ryuto bumps into Maria and they walk a couple blocks side by side. Before they split, he says they shouldn't talk anymore. Maria nods and says she can't erase him overnight, but she's more worried about Runa when they were kids. Runa used to give away things she loved just to keep people smiling. and Maria fears she'll keep sacrificing herself now. Maria says she likes Ryuto, but she loves Runa more and wants her sister happy above everything. She turns to leave. Ryuto blurts that she was his first crush and thanks her, even though she tossed him aside back then. Tears spring into her eyes. She says hearing that is enough and jogs off. He calls Runa. Just then, a scream Maria's. Ryuto sprints toward the sound. A stranger shoves past and runs. Ryuto reaches Maria shaking on the sidewalk. On the phone, Runa hears the chaos and hears him say Maria's name. He takes Maria to the police to file a report. She touches her ear and realizes one earring is gone. But before she can explain, the officer says they'll make sure she gets home safely. Outside, Ryuto meets Runa. She says she already called her mom and doesn't want explanations right now. They'll talk in a week at the park. 7 days later, they sit on a bench. Ryuto starts to explain. Runa raises a hand. She says they should break up before the next rumor starts. It's not only about last week, she's been thinking this for a while and worries Ryuto feels it too. She wanted to stack up first with him, and she's thankful for what they had. A couple strolls past holding hands, and both of them end up replaying months' worth of memories in their heads. Runa's tears start. Ryuto's hit harder. He says he can't accept a breakup. He was telling Maria they were cutting contact, and the timing made it sound worse than it was. He can't undo the past, but he's begging her to forgive him. Runa apologizes for reading it wrong and admits she still loves him. She just got scared he'd hate the messy, jealous parts of her. So she hid them and decided ending it would hurt less. He asks for everything, no more hiding, and promises he'll love all of it. He hugs her tight and swears he's not letting go of this relationship. He wants to graduate with her, go through college years, grow old together. Runa laughs crying, says sorry for the mess again, and he starts crying even more, until a toddler smacks his forehead with a toy car by accident, and both of them burst into helpless laughter while the parents apologize. Later, leaning on a bridge rail, they say sorry one more time, talk until the streetlights blink on, and seal it with a kiss. Ryuto admits he didn't do the become Maria's friend first step Runa asked for so the sisters could reconnect. Runa confesses she suggested that because she wanted a kinder way back to Maria and was terrified Maria would hate her more. Ryuto tells her Maria doesn't hate her. Maria told him she transferred schools just to see Runa living happily. Runa pulls a small earring from her pocket and says she'd given its twin to Maria. Ryuto remembers Maria losing one during the attack and explains. They hurry back to the street where it happened in search until they finally spot the missing piece. Runa holds it to the light and smiles through tears. Maria kept it. That's all the proof she needed. Her sister still loves her too. Morning assembly wraps, and the gym goes loud with clapping as Maria walks up to claim a competition prize. While everyone's still buzzing, Runa stands and says, clear and proud, "That's my little sister." Heads tilt, whispers start. She explains right away. She and Maria are twins, split up when their parents divorced and their mom remarried. Maria's cheeks turn pink, but she nods to confirm. The tension melts into warm chuckles and easy smiles across the room. After class, Maria pulls Runa to a quiet corner and asks why she told everyone. Runa opens her hand and shows an earring. She says she and Ryuto found it and she's been holding on to it. Maria's eyes widen. Runa kept it safe. They hug, long and tight. Runa apologizes for waiting so long to act and says she's genuinely happy Maria transferred in. A moment later, Runa's friends swing by. They introduce themselves and fold Maria into the group right away. A couple of boys joke about winning Maria's heart, and the whole circle cracks up. Watching the good vibes stack up, Ryuto thinks their days sometimes feel like a show that refuses to roll credits until things end well if it's not joyful yet. The story isn't finished. He and Runa drift down the hall together, both grinning for no reason. Runa squeezes his arm and says she feels ridiculously lucky because she can say out loud, without hiding, that she's with Ryuto. Then she tells him she loves him straight, serious, and asks for a favor. He's sure this is the moment to level up the relationship. But what she actually wants is help with something she calls route operation. He blinks. Route? Operation? They grab seats at a cafe, and she lays it out. Things with Maria are finally thawed. Now, she wants to aim bigger, get their whole family sitting at the same table like before. Her mom is newly divorced, and she believes her dad still has feelings for mom. Maybe there's a window to reconnect. She's already synced up with Maria, who agreed to try. The plan is simple. Invite both parents to a Christmas Eve dinner at a restaurant and see if they can be a family for a night. She wants Ryuto there, too, partly for support, partly so he can be formally introduced to her father. That afternoon, Runa's at her desk writing a careful letter to her dad. Maria stops by as she's finishing. Across the room, Ryuto almost drops his pen. Yusuke walks in noticeably slimmer and unexpectedly handsome. Akari notices too, turns bright red, and rushes her friends. Is that really Yusuke? When they nod, she whispers that he now looks like her ideal type. Runa tells Akari to go confess already. Akari refuses, she rejected him once, and flipping now would make her look pathetic. Nikaru gets annoyed with the back and forth and storms to the rooftop. Up there, Ren tries a clumsy flirt. Nikoru shuts it down instantly. She has a boyfriend. Ren backs off and mutters that it feels like everyone else is speeding through their youth, while he's stuck on the sidelines. At cram school that night, Ryuto spirals about meeting Runa's dad on Christmas Eve and how he's supposed to introduce himself without malfunctioning. Later, Runa joins him, and they head to the restaurant where Maria has already brought their mom. Mom is surprised to see Runa walk in with Ryuto, and Runa adds that dad will arrive soon, which shocks her even more. Maria apologizes to their mother for the little trick. She and Runa wanted the family to spend Christmas together like the old days. 30 minutes pass. The door opens. Runa's father walks in with a girlfriend. He says Runa invited him to meet her boyfriend, so he brought his partner as well and then drops it. They're getting married soon. The room freezes. Runa's eyes fill. The night falls apart in seconds. Maria and their mom leave early, upset. When the place finally empties out, Ryuto stays with Runa and lets her cry, saying only what's needed and nothing that would make it worse. Back at Runa's house, she's too shaken to talk. Ryuto stands in the entry and says he can head home. She catches his sleeve and begs him not to leave her alone that night. He blushes and says her dad might come back. She shakes her head. He'll probably stay with his fiancée. He hesitates, and her face crumples more. Are you going to walk away like he did? She asks. He wraps his arms around her. They stumble lightly into the wall. The switch clicks. The lights go off, and suddenly, they're very close. She whispers for him to hold her tighter. He does, then realizes her skin is burning hot. He checks fever. Everything flips from romantic to urgent. He carries her to her room, tucks her in, cools her down, gets water and medicine, and keeps watch until his own eyes finally shut with his hand still holding hers. Across town, Nikoru stands outside the restaurant where she works, ready to confess to Shugo. Nerves hit. She turns on her heel and heads to his cram school instead. She finds him asleep in an empty room, gently wakes him, and says she'll wait for him until exams are over. She starts to go. He stirs, calls her back, scolds her playfully, and wraps his muffler around her shoulders. Ren sees this and feels his heart drop. His phone buzzes Yusuke, shouting that Ken's stream just went live, so Ren hurries home. Elsewhere, Akari sits staring at a new photo of the glowed-up Yusuke and blushes hard. Maria, meanwhile, can't stop worrying about Runa after the wrecked dinner and Dad's announcement. Back at Runa's, Ryuto has fallen asleep in a chair with his fingers still laced with hers. Christmas morning arrives bright and calm. Runa wakes, fever gone, and the first thing she sees is Ryuto's sleep-creased face. She beams, pours tea, and says she's never been happier to open her eyes to him on Christmas. She gives him a small bag full of amulets. He says he has something too, disappears for a second, and comes back in a DIY Santa outfit, trying not to laugh at himself. From behind his back, he reveals a box. Moonstone earrings, her favorite stones. She lights up, completely ecstatic. She says she feels more grown now that seeing Ryuto instead of Santa is what makes her happy. She also decides, quietly and firmly, to let her father choose his own path and accept that. Inside, Ryuto thinks they're both still young, with plenty of miles ahead to grow, travel through new moments, and find bigger happiness side by side. Later at work, Runa tells Nikoru the Christmas plan crashed and burned, but the years still felt strangely good overall. She admits it felt odd that Ryuto didn't try anything physical while they were alone. Nikoru teases him for having self-control because she was sick, then adds that the way Runa keeps thinking about him proves that this is real love. Runa realizes it too. This is her first true love, the kind she actually wants to share with Ryuto. That weekend, Ryuto and Runa pass a little photo studio and wander in. Runa asks whether he's into cosplay. He says he's terrible at it, but he'll try for her. They dress up, she chooses a maid outfit, and take a bunch of cute, close photos. Between shots, she keeps curling into him more than usual. He notices and asks why she's extra clingy. Her face goes bright red. She says she wants him to want her to see her with real desire, and that she wants their closeness to keep moving forward. Then she grabs the back of his head and kisses him hard. And that's where this video ends. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Also watch this following video until the new one.